All right, guys. Thanks for joining us this morning. Everyone should have recording access. If not, just let me know. See a lot of hands raised. Thank you for doing that. Coach, do you want to start us off? Do you want to go right to questions?
Right to questions.
All right. Let's start with Joe Person, followed by Chris Jenkins.
Hey, Matt. Good morning.
Morning, Joe.
Wondered if, with the bye week coming up, if there were any plans to make any staff changes or reassignments.
I don't have that plan right now, Joe. My plan for the bye week is kind of all along going back to Wofford has been to get to the bye week, whatever the record was, take this time to watch the tape. I think right now, as I sit here, take this time, really watch the tape, see what we can do better, see the areas that we have to improve upon, whether that's schematic, whether that's players, whether that's coaching, whether that's practice time, whether that's everything. I think everyone in our team knows, I don't want to say change, but growth. There has to be some growth in some areas, right? I mean, you can't go into you can't go into this last five and not show improvement. And so the improvement might just be, hey, we continue to get better at what we're doing. But I think this is a week of true quality control and reflection. I asked the players to do the same thing while they're away. Gave them some time to get their bodies back. So I wouldn't. I'd be completely honest with you and frank with you. I'm not planning anything, but I wouldn't take anything off the table right now in terms of any moves roster-wise, the way we're coaching things, anything like that. I'm happy with a lot of things that we've done, but obviously yesterday was just bad football, and that can't happen. So I'll take the week, rewatch every game, probably rewatch every practice. Just try to see what we can be better at and give ourselves the best chance to win down this last 5 games. To me, are a tremendous opportunity to play our division. Each team in our division one more time. Tampa Bay twice. So just want to play our best football down the stretch.
And are you giving the staff off this week in addition to the players?
Yeah, I got them out of here. But they have assignments to do and quality control to do. But in terms of where they're at, I'm not too concerned with that right now.
Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, Coach, I know previously you mentioned about having, I think, about 35 rushes per game. Yesterday, you weren't anywhere near that. Can you talk about why you feel like you guys got away from that, if that was part of the game plan yesterday?
Yeah, disappointed in that. As we've said before, to be able to run the football, you have to do a couple of things. You have to run it well. You have to convert third downs to stay on the field. And you have to not have penalties. So, we had some penalties at times. We had a nice 20-yard run by Chuba. We had a tough call go against us, that brought it back. A really tough call. I thought Pat did an excellent job blocking, and he got called for a hold. And then, the score got away from us a little bit. So, you're kind of in that fourth quarter. That's a whole quarter of not really running the football, of being in rally mode, trying to get back into the game. So, I would say it's a whole group of factors that led to that. Not running it at I wouldn't say at a bad level. We ran it at an okay level. And then, Miami did exactly what I told you guys they were going to do. They did what they did to the Ravens. They lined up in zero blitz, and they put everybody up in the line, and they dared us to beat it. We beat it one time for a big play to DJ, but obviously did not beat it enough to run them out of it.
And speaking of the scoring, you guys had 7 in the first quarter, 3 in the second, and 0 in the second half. Was it adjustments needing to be made from the original game plan, or just execution not, being the reason for that downturn like that?
Yeah, and I wouldn't even say we had 3 in the second quarter. I'd say that wasn't an offensive field goal. That was the defense. Unbelievable job by Frankie and getting down with 1 second and kicking that. So we were held to 7 points. I think everything's always a little bit of everything. There's opportunities we had out there to execute that we didn't. At the same time, we have to put our guys in the best position to make plays, and we have to be able to burn the blitz and handle the blitz. We have to defeat man-to-man coverage. Have to protect the football. So, I think everything's always you start with the coaching. We have to coach it better. We have to put our guys in better position to be successful, and then we have to execute at a higher level.
Let's go to Scott Fowler for the next question, followed by Will Plachik.
Matt, 2 small personnel things, if you would. One is, what's your evaluation of Christian McCaffrey's ankle at this point?
They'll be in for medical later, so I don't have a great feel for it. It looked like at the time it looked like it was something he was still out there. You know, he got retaped. He was trying to get it to run, so I thought he was going to play the second half, or had a chance to play the second half. Didn't look like a major high ankle, out. Hey, he's out. But I don't have much of a feel other than later on today they'll let us know. They'll bring him in. I know they X-rayed him yesterday. That was negative. So usually they MRI everything just to make sure they have a good picture on guys. So I think we'll have a better feel later today.
And the other one, thank you for that. The other one was, I guess Sam Darnold is technically going to be close to a potential bringing back sometime in December. Where is he right now?
Yeah, I saw Sam, talked to Sam for a while on Saturday morning. He's still doing all his rehab workouts. I know he started throwing the ball, in a very controlled manner. So where that puts him, I don't know. I know originally it was like, hey, 4 to 6 weeks. So, probably coming up, I guess, on week 4 maybe. And, so I'm not sure how that'll, play out. We'll get back next Monday, see where he's at in his process and kind of go from there.
Thank you.
Matt, in terms of just what your assignments will be for Cam Newton this week, what conceivably can you have for him this week in terms of how much he can actually grab from the playbook this late in the season? How exactly will you be going about doing that over the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, Sean will work with Cam and help just continue to advance him in terms of, obviously Cam knows the assignments. A lot of it is just being able to do it without thinking. A lot of it is knowing the tools that are in there to protect yourself versus this pressure, that pressure. So I think Sean's an excellent coach. He'll have Cam ready next Monday.
Is there a limiting factor to what he can get at this point of the season, just because of how late it is?
Yeah, there's just time on task, right? The amount of time, but in terms of learning it, I think all of us can, we control what we can control. I think Cam's worked really, really, really hard, and I wouldn't put anything past him.
Let's go to Darren Gant and then David Newton.
Matt, what went into the decision to not start Derek Brown, and is that a long-term thing or a short-term thing?
Derek didn't play very well the week before. I made the decision to not start him. Wanted to see, hoping that he would respond. I think Derek responded. It looks like on tape, Derek played a really good game. He's a young player that just needs consistency to his game. Sometimes when you're a young player and you're drafted high, you put a lot of pressure on yourself to, get more sacks and have more production, and you get away from the fundamentals. And when you realize that, hey, I'm going to have production if I stick to my fundamentals and get in a great stance and play my techniques. And I thought you saw a guy in Derek yesterday that went out and did that. So I'm very excited about Derek Brown and his future. I put Daquan out at the 3 technique this past game.
Were there conversations with him going into it, knowing that, and do you think that message was received?
Yeah, I think hopefully I talked to everybody. I met with Derek. Besides his position coach, I met with him one-on-one last Wednesday morning at like 7 a.m. I met with him after the game. I think after the game, as disappointed as we were, I think there was some growth from his perspective in terms of understanding, like, hey, if I just do these things, I'll be successful. You go through this adversity, these ups and downs, and some guys stray from, the process of being, technique driven, and some guys go back to it. And I think Derek was starting to stray from it. And this week, hopefully, it looks like based on the tape, he got back to it and did an excellent job in there.
Hey, Matt, I wanted to ask you with everything else going on with the offensive line struggling and everything else, how do you really assess the quarterback situation these last 5 games without getting all that straight?
I think we look at each person, each player, each coach, each decision, unto itself. How do you play in relation to what's happening in front of you? Are you throwing the ball on time? Are we in the right checks? Is the progression correct? I think you have to look at all that as best you can. We had played well, protection-wise in the previous games, and really, if we're being honest, there's a formula that people try to follow to beat us. It's, the positive thing is when there's a formula to beat you, and that means that people can't just do whatever they want to beat you, right? That they have to do a couple certain things, and really it's, stop the run and get after the passer for us. The zero blitz yesterday bothered us. The twist games bothered us. Michael came out. Brady went in at left guard. Dennis struggled a little bit at left tackle. So that's kind of how people get after us. And I think what we need the quarterbacks to make plays and play us through it. So quarterback is only as good as the people around him, but he does have to make those people better. So we'll just evaluate everything each week. We're not at the end of the season. We're not sitting here making some global statement for the future. Just like last week when you guys asked me, what does this mean? I say, I'm just worried about this week. We went out to Miami. We got beat up. We got beat. So we regroup this week. We come out next week. We play Atlanta at home, and we'll focus on just that week and try to make sure the O-line plays better, David, and make sure the quarterbacks have a good plan. Make sure that there's people open for them to throw to. That's a big piece of this as well, and try to have the best plan possible.
If you had a chance, I know yesterday you didn't really want to say a lot about play of anybody without looking at the tape. If you had a chance to look at that tape, and what did you see specifically about the quarterback play?
Well, I thought obviously, I thought our timing was off. Like we weren't fast in and out of the huddle, getting to the line of scrimmage. We threw two interceptions. The ones thrown to the right spot. I mean, in terms of the timing, and then Xavier Howard undercut it. We know who X is. That's our number one guy. That's DJ Moore. And Cam shows a lot of faith in throwing the ball to him. Xavier makes a heck of a play, undercuts it. The other pick was just underthrown. If it's thrown out to the sideline, we have a chance that's a completion probably. So, I don't think anything was good enough yesterday by anybody. I can't even begin to get into the whys. I know we can't have 3 interceptions and 5 sacks and think that we're going to win. But there's a lot of things that can be better. And starting, number one, let me say this, starting with us as coaches, putting them in a position to play.
Thanks.
Let's go back to Chris Jenkins and then Scott Fowler.
Coach, what went into Terrace Marshall being inactive yesterday?
We wanted Matt Cole up for special teams. It's going to be 80 degrees down there. Miles Hartsfield's been doing a lot, being the gunner, with Stanley Thomas to Oliver out, being the gunner, running down. So we wanted to have Matt Cole up to cover kicks and help us in the special teams game. We thought special teams would be big in this game. Obviously we had the punt block against us, so they're big against us. We did run the punt fake, which was good. So we did that with Matt, and then I think we thought that matchup-wise versus man, just having Shy speed out there would help us. So I don't think it's an indication of anything for Terrace long term. I would expect Terrace to be probably up in another game. We just knew that this game was going to be a zero blitz, man-to-man, come after you. And like DJ did, we had hoped that we would have 2, 3, 4 chances to run by them, block it all up, and throw the ball down the field.
And about the penalties, I know you're trying to get a hold of having penalties on this team. Previously, you guys were doing something with that DBO sign at practice. Are you still doing something like that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'll just say again, you divide the penalties up into 2 categories. Hassan Reddick had 2 15-yard personal fouls, right? I mean, that can't happen. So that's 30 yards of penalties right there. I think we had 7. That's 2 of them. False start, can't have that, right? I mean, we had a hold go against us, which was tough. Guys are playing hard, but I think we all know yesterday wasn't our best day up front. Sometimes when we get these holds up front on the offensive line, that's as indicative of just kind of trying to battle up front and where we're at. So, the focus penalties we're going to keep trying to eliminate, but I think it's a little deeper at this point than running to a sign. It's decisions that guys are making, but sometimes it's also in the battle. A lot of guys asked me yesterday, are the guys listening? Are they just doing their job? Some of the jobs we ask guys to do are really, really hard. Blocking some of these guys are hard, or being in your gaps hard, and sometimes we win, sometimes we don't. Sometimes penalties come when we're not necessarily winning. Two of the penalties holds we had yesterday were tough. Were ones that we didn't need, and they brought back good plays.
Matt, just to make sure I'm understanding you right, yesterday I know you said that you weren't didn't plan on making any changes quarterback wise. But then you did mention today that everything's on the table as you reevaluate things.
Yeah, what I said yesterday,
just
Scott,
wanted to-
what I said yesterday, I think, again, sometimes I say things and people hear, so what I said was, David said, I said, hey, I'm going to go watch the tape. And
Okay.
I said, I'm going to go watch the tape. And I said, I'm not ready to make anything. And he said something. I said, I'm not ready to make any changes right now. I'm not ready to. So that's really all I meant. Like, I'm not going to come out of a game in the locker room and be like, hey, I'm doing this or I'm doing that. Unless I'm,
Right.
like I was Sam, I was like, hey, so not that I'm even saying that there's a chance I'm not going to start somebody. I just like to go back and watch the tape and look at it. When I go back and watch the tape, I have a lot of confidence in Cam Newton, the way he prepares. If everyone else played really well and Cam struggled, it'd be easier for me. I think as a team we struggled. Certainly offensively we struggled. Special teams wise we struggled, and that's kind of been. We went to New York. We kind of struggled on offense. Defense hung in there for a while. Wasn't championship defense. It was good enough defense. It was kind of the Patriots game, and now this game. Really, you look at Coach Judge, Coach Flores, kind of those guys coming from Coach Belichick. It's been the same sort of game against us, and we haven't mastered it yet. So. I only say that out of respect for Coach Judge and Coach Flores, but also that we recognize, hey, this style, this defense, something about it is giving us a lot of work. And so the best thing that I can do is go back and really dive into the tape and dive into, hey, where do we have to go? But I know Cam Newton. I know the way that he works. But that's what I meant yesterday, Scott. If that makes sense. I saw the headline immediately after as I got on the bus. As Matt Rhule said, I was just saying I wasn't going to make any statements there. I tried to start the meeting by saying, hey, guys, I'm not going to make any statements. Usually when I say that, everyone says, hey, Coach, I know you're not going to make any statements, but. And so I just was trying to refer to that. And I mean that respectfully towards our players. I don't think the last thing they needed after that game was me trying to kick them in the teeth in the locker room, right? I mean, you might not know, this, but a lot of people might, like, these guys care greatly. They wanted to win. I think, in fact, we wanted to win so badly that when things went wrong yesterday, I think we started to try so extra hard, and I'm trying my best, and I think a lot of guys are getting it. Like, it might not seem like it, but they're getting it. Like, when things are going wrong or things are going right, you just have to go back to the process of playing good football and doing your job and playing at preparing and playing at a high level. And so, anyways, that's what I meant. And I think this week is a week for me it's just a quality control week. And then very often, very rarely do you have 5 games to finish the year and 4 of them being in your division. So the whole process was to play the year out, get to here, study it, and come in next week with a plan to hopefully go beat Atlanta and then carry it on from there.
And given all that, are you ready to say who your starting quarterback is against Atlanta December 12th?
Yeah, I would absolutely anticipate starting Cam Newton. I would not say, though, that would mean that we wouldn't play PJ as well. And that's no slight against Cam. I think, keeping people off balance maybe. But I don't know that yet. And PJ's known me long enough to know that I don't make promises, But my point is that I would go through this week. I'm just going to really go back and evaluate everything. Ask the coaches to do the same thing. Come back and everything from, hey, how can we be a better screen team, to are we running the right runs, to, hey, why are we not having success on third downs when we don't have success? I think this is a week to just make sure we get the football more right, come back, and that way the players can be put in positions to make plays.
Thank you.
All right, guys, got time for 2 more, so we'll go to Vashti Hurt and then finish with Joe Person.
Hi, Coach. Defensively, the team has seemed to struggle the last couple of weeks after having maybe arguably one of their best games against Arizona. What are you seeing from that group that in watching tape, that has kind of led to this recent decline?
Well, I think when you look at it's unique, and I'll just work my way through it quickly. I think we held them to again, I'll say things sometimes that might not be exactly right, so you guys quality control. I think we held them we made them punt the first 4 possessions. Unfortunately, we gave up a punt block, right? So we're down 7-0. Then we throw the ball, we get the ball picked, and the ball's at the 9-yard line, and they score a touchdown. So we don't want to give up that touchdown. But really, for the first 5 drives of the game, I thought we played good football. We got the ball back. I think we went 3 and out, and then we punted the ball down, and that's when they hit that deep over route to 17 to Jalen Waddle, and they went down and scored. And then we got the turnover that led to points at the end of the half. So really, it was a punt block in the first half. It was the ball at the 9-yard line in the first half, and then it was one explosive play, which they did. I think we held them, I don't know, Bruce, under 300 yards. We held them to right around 100 yards rushing. I think the biggest thing, Vashti, was we really didn't have much help, from the offense. Defensively in the second half, I think we gave up one touchdown and 2 field goals, maybe it was. I think if there's any sort of sustained offensive effort, or we don't get the punt blocked, or we don't turn the ball over the 9, we probably play a little bit better. All that being said, we went into the game saying, hey, guys, we're going to have to stop the run game, stop the RPO game. We stopped the run game. Some of the RPOs did hurt us for 5, 6, 7, 8-yard plays. They were able to keep it in third and manageable. We have to win third down and get off the field better. That's kind of like been our recipe for success. We had a sack. The sack fumble that we knocked down. We had the fumble that we picked up and ran with. But I think when you go back and look at the tape, you see a defense that is playing, when you really look at like where the positions they're put in, they played good defense. They just didn't play great defense. They didn't get off the field. They didn't dominate the game the way that Miami dominated the game against our offense. So how do we fix that? I think there's a lot of schematic things we have to talk about this week in terms of, putting, the right guys on the field in the right places. And I'm not saying they're not. I just think that's really what we have to look at this week. And then go play these last games. So I don't think it was. I say all that to say I don't think it was as bad as it looked when you look at the score. I would like to see us be a defense that has a little more resolve when things are going poorly. That holds them to a field goal instead of a touchdown in the red zone. That's the biggest area of concern for me, Vashti, is we give up too many touchdowns on 3rd and 9. It's hard to throw touchdowns on 3rd and 9, and we're giving them up. And that's something that I know Phil will look at and this week, and hopefully we'll have a really good red zone plan that our players can execute the last 5 games.
And just as a follow-up, there have been ups and downs in this season, and you've always heard about consistency and do your job. And you talk about the process, and I'm just curious from a personal standpoint, how easy is it to, when you're going through down periods, to stick with and continue to believe in that process?
It's the only thing any person who's accomplished anything has done. Any person that's ever accomplished anything doesn't pay attention to any other narrative except the internal narrative. It doesn't mean you don't test your process. This is directly. This is like Theo Epstein said this the best. Like, when you go through adversity, it doesn't mean you don't test your process. You don't go back and look at, like we're doing, like, hey, is this scheme right? Is this person right? Is this right? But when your process is right, you double down on it. So, that's the only way to have success and to do something really hard and to try to build a Super Bowl winning franchise, Super Bowl winning team. That's really hard. So to do that, you have to double down on what you do and believe in it. So, and I think the one thing is when we see it done right, it works. When I just want to make sure I say this. When I say do your job, I want to make sure it's not like guys are like just making a decision to do their job or not. It's really hard to do your job because there's another guy lined up across from you that's trying to do his job, and so it's a battle. And sometimes you win the battle, and sometimes you don't. I have no issue with the effort our guys played with yesterday. They competed. They were bought in. They wanted to win that game for the fans, for themselves, for everything. We weren't able to get it done. So, but in terms of anything else, I got full confidence in the process and where we're headed.
Hey, Matt, back on Christian, was that a situation yesterday? Like, what were trainers telling you he was good to go? Because it seemed like he was standing there kind of at the ready. What was the deal with the ankle there?
Yeah, he was never ruled out. He was never ruled out. It just Jeff was talking to him. Jeff just tried to use him as needed. Because he was obviously wasn't 100%. So just trying to use him as needed on third downs, etc.
And then on the block punt, we saw the guy across from Sam Franklin, the gunner blocker, I guess, when he motioned in, should you guys have changed your protection at that point? It looked like Chuba had he had to make a choice on those two guys.
Yeah, so we have 2 answers to that. So Chuba blocks the inside guy, and we work off the outside guy. We just kick away from him, beat him with speed. That was our quick punt because we were down there at the 1 yard line. So that's a quick cadence. Get up there, snap the ball, and go. And so Chuba has to block the guy who blocked it. Chuba just has to block him. And if the outside guy gets it, then it's on us, which is why we're going on quick. If we're not going on quick, then we recount the protection, and we can put Chuba on the outside guy, slide it. So there's 2 answers. coming off the sideline, we had called the quick, where Chase had called the quick punt to beat it. Chuba just needs to stay inside. He saw it, kind of panicked and went out and blocked the outside guy as if we had recounted it, but that had not happened. So that was an error by us, an error by the wing.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
All right, thanks, guys.